This episode is brought to you by some amazing people. The Diz Loki, Eric Booth, Patrick O'Leary, Tabin R., Rogue Trooper, Barry, Mind Over Matter Loophole, Aaron's Energy 313, Marcel Gouffonian Metalhead, Janine Hollis, KC, Welcome to the Show, Catherine Jones, Gemini Moon, Leah, Abbott Hoffman, Moody Mongol, Gary T., Eddie Tab, Diane Boss, Mecca Mickey, T-Bone, Dorothy Hawkins, Jeanette Angel, Kelly Lewis, Richard and Fern Harrison, and Nathan from The Quantum Show. And a special thank you to all of our subscribers on YouTube, Spotify, and now over on Rumble. If you wish to support the podcast, you can hit that join button below to become an Eyes to That Sky member. Or if you want to join the Patreon or to provide other support, the links are below in the show description. But now, on with the show. Welcome to the Michigan UFO Sightings and Paranormal Encounters podcast, where we explore the unexplained and mysterious phenomena that have occurred throughout the state of Michigan and beyond.
From UFO sightings to ghostly encounters, we delve deep into the stories, the evidence, and the theories behind these strange events.
We are your hosts. I'm Michelle.
And I'm Wayne.
We are an educator duo that after an encounter with a triangular UFO in 2018 in Michigan, we decided to investigate UFOs and the paranormal. In this podcast, we will be speaking with eyewitnesses, experts, and researchers to uncover the truth about some of the most intriguing cases of paranormal activity in and around Michigan.
Our goal is not to convince anyone of the existence of these phenomena, but rather to provide a platform for discussion and exploration. So, buckle up and join us on this journey down the paranormal rabbit hole.
On an escalator.
Okay, hey everybody, how is it going out there, man? And are we fired up and excited for the show we got for you guys tonight? But we are coming from the shadow of the great Motor City, Detroit, Michigan, and we are still deep within our underground bunker, hiding from all the drones.
And hiding from all the Christmas shoppers, too.
Yeah, and the crazy Christmas shoppers, that's right. We want to thank you for joining us for this very special episode. It is Sunday, December 22nd, 2024 at the time of this live stream. And there are just 3 shopping days left until Christmas. And we survived until winter break once again. Michelle, Amen. What an accomplishment getting away from those crazy middle schoolers and high schoolers.
Yeah, it was a crazy week. Crazy couple weeks.
Man, oh man, I'll tell you, it just, the older I get, the worse it gets.
I noticed the older I get, the less my patience is apparent.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, well, remember, if you have a story that you would like to tell, or if you would like to email the show, you can do that at mi.ufo.podcast@gmail.com.
That's right. Also, if you wish to make a donation to the podcast, you can do so with PayPal, Super Chats, buy us a coffee, or check out our merch store, or join the Patreon. All of those links can be found below in the show. Why do I sound like I'm like a really bad like DJ? That's horrible. It's like, what is going on here?
You sound like a car salesman.
Maybe I got too much sleep. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. But if you become a YouTube member or a Patreon member, you will get a shout out during the intro, as you saw Michelle reading off like 27 names there. So, and you'll be listed in the credits at the end of the show as a thank you for your support.
All right, go into your analytics.
All right, so analytics, guys. So we're killing it with subs lately. We thank you guys 100,000 times over. We're currently we've dropped a little bit. We're at 51.8% of the people watching this live stream are subscribed, but we were much higher just not too long ago. We were at like a 61.2% of watchers were subscribed. Let's see if we can get that 48.2% that are watching to click that subscribe button which will get this show out there to more people so we can get even more awesome guests like who we have on tonight. So hit that subscribe button now. And don't forget, if you're listening on Spotify, please make sure you hit that follow button.
Well, we've got quite a few people to say hello to in chat. We have Tabin with us tonight, Straw Dog, Lala, and Science Bob are also in chat and also on camera tonight with us.
That's right.
We've got Nathan from the Quantum Show. EA is with us tonight. Let's see. We've got Diane Boss is with us tonight. Necessary Dialogue. I saw Rick Davis in there. Stars and Night Vision. And, Chris McKinnell has joined us.
Yep. Hey, Chris, welcome. Good
All
seeing
right,
you.
Awesome.
All right. Well, Michelle, I'm excited to get this going because we've got Science Bob McGwier, as he is known as in many circles, and also his partner, Lala Bright, joining us tonight. And it makes me think about our experience and how we got together. I mean, we were together a long time ago, but you being a English teacher, me being the science guy, the science teacher, Earth and space science, and then our UFO triangular craft experience in 2018. And maybe we can touch that a little bit.
And here we are.
And here we are doing this. And as we're going to find out about Bob and Lala here, I think there's some interesting parallels. And let's see what comes of this. So why don't you go ahead and read off those bios for us?
Well, we've got Lala Bright. She has been an experiencer and psychic since she was very young. Born in Baltimore, she was raised by a father who is that Reiki?
Reiki, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Practitioner and light worker. He recognized what she was when she found her next door neighbor's grave by hearing her name being called at 5 years old. Mm. She had sightings of UFOs and interactions through her youth. As an adult, she had many instances of missing time and memories of abductions. She is a practicing medium and regularly gives readings. And then we've got Science Bob McGwier. He is a retired member of the U.S. intelligence community and professor at Virginia Tech. Bob had odd experiences when he was growing up and a life of downloads that heavily influenced his life choices. Bob earned a PhD in applied math and degrees in engineering and physics. He worked in intelligence for 27 years. At the end of his career in the intelligence, he joined the faculty at Virginia Tech and later became interested in UFOs. After visiting Chris Bledsoe, author of UFOs of God, he had many experiences and met Lala after she had seen Bob on Spaced Out Radio in a segment called Science Bob and Friends. She read for Bob and brought his mother, grandmother, father, and more through. They began working on understanding Lala's abilities, started her business, finally started a relationship, and now live together in Maryland, regularly experience the phenomenon.
All right. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and get this party started. And let's bring on the host of Orbis Paranormal channel over there on YouTube, which we'll have links to down in the show description, Lala Bright and Science Bob McGwier. Hello.
Hello, everybody. I want to say a quick hello to Bigfoot Michigan Rob, and who's a friend of ours, and Chris McKinnell, who is the grandson of Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Oh, okay. We recently had on, not recently, it's been about a year now, but we had on the niece, right? Oh, no. That's the niece of
Hill,
yeah.
Betty and Barney.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
So she's mostly retired from the UFO world, but
yeah,
she's still very much alive and kicking.
Oh yeah. She sent me her book, and her and Stanton Friedman, and she had the signature for me, which was really cool. It's one of my prized possessions sitting over here on my bookshelf. So I want to start with Lala. And in the bio, you mention having sightings and interactions with UFOs throughout your youth. And I know you have other abilities and things like that. But where I want to start is, can you take us through some of those interactions with UFOs and non-human intelligences? And what was your general sense of these UFOs and their interacting with you?
Okay, so what I remember first, I thought was just a reoccurring dream. I mean, it would happen multiple times a month, every month for years. When I started at 5, it was me in my backyard looking up at a bunch of round silver UFOs slowly flying away from me. And most of my life, whatever they did to me, when they would abduct me or if I would see a UFO while awake up close, they would numb me. I wouldn't talk about it. I wouldn't remember the missing time. A lot of people don't remember, but I just wouldn't talk about it at all. I didn't have a need to, which is weird because I have anxiety in general, and so I talk too much when I'm nervous. So it was just strange. I know I have an implant in my leg. I found out by accident over 20 years ago, and it's the size of a piece of rice. It's still there. We flew last year, and it showed up again because 20 years ago you could actually see detail what was in your pocket. Now I don't think you can see detail what it is. It's just a blur. But I don't know. I think I personally feel, I know I'm watched over, I'm monitored. I don't feel they're bad. I feel I might be a part of them somehow. People like to say hybrid. I don't know. I just feel there's a reason that they pick certain people. I know I'm O negative. Both my parents were O negative. We have Irish descent. A lot of people talk about that with abductions and people. I don't know. I think they're tinkering with us. Some people I think they tinker with to see how their experiment's going, maybe in a nice way. I don't know.
I don't know how nice it is when they take you out of your bed involuntarily, but anyway.
They didn't eat me, so that's
that part's good. That part's good.
Well, Bob, you bring that up, and I've had plenty of conversations with people, and some people we are very close to on the show here that say that we have somehow agreed to have this happen at a different point in time or a different timeline or something along those lines. And in my science logical, algorithmic brain, that makes no sense to me, because why are you doing something to me that it wasn't technically me that agreed to this? Right. So I get that. I think it's something more to do with us here now, with what's going on now, than, and you're exactly right. Don't take me out of my nice warm bed and then try to tell me, well, you agreed to this when you were living as a grasshopper, 5 lives ago or something.
Yeah.
That just, to me, that doesn't make much sense. And I don't know, Lala, Bob, what do you guys think?
Well, the most logical explanation that I've been told, I don't have any evidence, but this is what I've been told that sounds logical to me. There was a big power struggle in the galaxy, and a settlement was reached across the galaxy. And one group did not want to join in this settlement. Now, both groups have a mixture of the same races in, but one group doesn't want to join the big group, and they remained in control of Earth. And they put up a shield and other things that traps us on this planet. They play soul trapping games. When you go into the light, you're being recycled so they can use you again, kind of thing. And some of us working for the good NHIs have agreed to come back to see if we can recover the things that we have lost inside our prison. And they put implants in us so that we can give them data on how the prison works. And we can go over at any time you're ready what I am being told is going on.
Okay, well, that's interesting, because my next thing was to go to you, Bob, and in your bio, and I've heard you talk about this before, and this is just any new revelations, or if nobody has heard this from you before in our audience, but you mentioned downloads and how they influenced your life choices. Can you explain what you mean by a download and how they influenced you? And I've got a very creepy, I don't want to say comparison, but something very creepy that kind of parallels what you talk about. And it was Diane Pasuka, and she talks about um, JPL, Jack Parsons, and Aleister Crowley making contact, or believing that Jack Parsons was getting something from a higher intelligence to help with this rocket. Now, I'm not saying that's you, but those two don't have a very good reputation when it comes to Lamb and their entities and stuff like that, especially Crowley. Crowley was kind of dark. So anyways, your background in what you think was going on with your downloads and things like that.
So I didn't even think about downloads until I was near the end of my career, and I began listening and became friends with Grant Cameron, who said, who was friends with Chris Bledsoe. And Chris was the person that convinced Grant that lots of musicians got downloads, and that's how they wrote the songs they got. And Grant ran with it. So I began hearing downloads, and then I remembered some stories my mom used to tell me when she was still alive, and I asked her about them, and she confirmed them. So here's the first of them up through, say, my 18th birthday. That'll really set the stage. When I was 3 years old, I woke up, got up out of my bed, and walked into where my mother and her best friend were doing their usual thing, smoking cigarettes, having coffee, and gossiping. So I went in there and I walked over to the bookshelf, grabbed a book, opened it up, and started reading it to them. I had never had a day's training in reading. So that was interesting, but I didn't really have any memory of it. But what happened after that is, through my first 10 years, many people recognized that I was something different. And so let me give it to you in the 10th year. In the 10th year, I built my own telescope from scratch. I ground the mirror, built it. I became an amateur radio operator, built my own transmitters and receivers. I built my own rockets, and the earliest ST's rockets. My next door neighbor took me under his wing, and we built together, with me being his grunt work, the largest fossil collection in the state of Alabama. And the final thing, which had an impact on my career up until college, is I got Grey's Anatomy from a family doctor, and I memorized it from cover to cover. Now, my mother told him this and didn't believe him, so he came and visited right after Thanksgiving and had a dinner party at my mother's. And I stood on the hearth. I still remember it. I stood on the hearth, and he quizzed me on Grey's Anatomy and couldn't stump me. So after that, my entire family was certain, because I was a medical genius that had memorized Grey's Anatomy, that I was going to be a doctor. So I went to school with my girlfriend from my hometown, same college. And one weekend, I picked her up, and we were headed back home for the weekend. And it was about a 2-hour drive, but an hour and a half into a part of it, the part where I stopped remembering and the part where we woke up, we wound up in the middle of nowhere with no idea where we were, at a stop sign. I mean, in the middle of backwoods Alabama. I mean, sparsely populated backwoods Alabama. It took me 15 minutes to drive far enough to figure out where we were. I went home, apologized to my girlfriend's mother, saying I took a wrong turn because we were yapping, and we're here now and everybody's okay. and I forgot all about it. Totally forgot all about it. But that was an hour and a half of missing time. And I didn't even remember that until I heard Grant Cameron talking about it. And then I went home, asked my mother, did that actually happen? She says, oh yeah, that was a big deal when it happened to you and your girlfriend. And she remembered it. Okay, and my girlfriend remembered it too. She remembered the event. So I had multiple confirmations that actually happened. So 2 weeks after that, I was no longer going to be a medical doctor. I got a degree in applied math with a degree in electrical engineering and a minor in physics. And that was the end of doctor, and here became geek scientist. And that's been the rest of my life. I've done those things for the rest of my life, including doing that, applying that work to intelligence community problems, then applying that training to being a professor at Virginia Tech. And so, and I found I had downloads all my whole life. Those are the genesis of many of the technical papers I wrote. But 2 downloads I got. One was the basis for the patents that I authored that founded the company Hawkeye 360. Now, it does location of transmitters on the ground from orbit in order to aid all sorts of things, but including the intelligence community. That is a problem that's been worked on for decades. Basically, people don't go into that field because of how much work has already been done. But sitting in an audience, I had a download, and I knew that I knew a better way to do it. And that is now Hawkeye 360. And the proof I have that it's a better idea is Hawkeye's 360 constellation, satellite constellation, up to 24, on the way to over 100 satellites, is now part of the national constellation of satellites operated by the National Reconnaissance Office for the US government. And the other one is a way to do cellular telephones while at the same time sharing spectrum, radio spectrum, with the Navy, so we don't interfere with the Navy when they need the spectrum. That company's Federated Wireless. So my technical work was downloads, and the work that started 2 companies on was downloads. So that gives you a kind of an operational idea of what it is. And Grant says scientists and musicians and philosophers and religious people, etc., all get a lot of their really unusual esoteric thinking from downloads.
Very interesting. Now, can either one of you tell if, like, Lala, can you tell if Bob has gotten a download, or somebody that you meet or read for? Is there any kind of a marker or something? Bob, same question for you. Can you tell if somebody has gotten downloads before from these NHIs or wherever? Where do you guys think these come from?
I can't tell. I don't feel someone getting a download at all, but you might.
I'll be sitting around watching a video, let's say, of something I'm interested in on YouTube, and all of a sudden in the middle of it, an idea will flash in my head that will take what I'm listening to a step further. And I have no idea what that is. So the constant amongst the downloads is the following. I have not had training in any of the things for which I got download, but I wind up making a big impact. So I had a download, got a student at Virginia Tech, and he wound up writing the best PhD thesis for the entire year in the School of Engineering in aerospace engineering. And I was his and other aerospace engineering advisor, along with others, but I was their principal advisor, and I never had a single class in aerospace engineering. So it's just kind of odd. So it's both a positive, but there are downsides in that you now know stuff, you know more than other people in the field do, but you don't have proof that you were ever trained in it. So it's a thing you have to overcome every time.
Interesting. So what brought you guys together? Like, I mean, Michelle and I, we've had a relationship for many years and stuff, and the fact that I'm a science teacher, I teach earth and space science, and we were both in a car and we had this experience with this triangle craft hovering over the road at 2:30 in the morning. I end up, long story short, end up getting a message in my head that says, "Get away from here. You don't belong here." And it came with a message in an emotion of absolute terror. Now, I used to jump out of airplanes. I was in the military, rappelled out of helicopters, messed up my legs, all that stuff. And I was never as terrified of doing any of that stuff than when I got that message in my head. And I'm trying to drive a what was it, a 2017 Jeep 4-door Wrangler down the expressway, rattling the bolts off of it because I'm trying to get it to go so fast to get away from this craft. And then fast forward a few months, I end up with Graves' disease.
Oh,
They couldn't diagnose it. They didn't know what was going on. So I pulled up my own medical records on the web and looked and saw that my T3 and T4 hormones from my thyroid were through the roof and just going crazy. And I'm dropping 30 pounds in like 2 weeks. I didn't sleep for like 4 days. I thought I was losing my mind. I was going crazy. And then I looked at the blood report and I'm like, these guys freaking missed this in the emergency room. So I went to my doctor and he's like, yeah, we got to get you to a specialist right away. While I'm freaking out because I'm throwing stuff at him and going, because I'm literally losing my mind. Like, what's going on here? And they put me on meds. It takes about a year for everything to get, stabilized and stuff. But I had no problems at all until that craft. And, so and now Michelle and I are here, and this is our 4th year of doing this. And I'm the science guy, and she's the emotional. Now seems to be very good at remote viewing, just naturally good at it. Seeing people, on a bridge in Germany with a certain castle when we had one guest on here and wrote it down. And then the next day we see that there was a woman killed and both of them thrown off the bridge. One survived, one died, and the guy lived right up the road from us in Germany. He just lost it and threw these 2 women off this bridge outside this castle in Germany, and she sees that. And then she's seeing some things about these drones going on over in Jersey, but it seems to parallel a little bit about, the intersection of a psychic medium and Bob the scientist, right? Getting together.
She definitely found me, so I'll let her tell you the story. And it's not anything like people would think.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Let's hear that.
So a couple of years ago, I lost my mom, my dad, and my boyfriend of 15 years. And it was just me and my son, and we didn't have anybody to talk to heal or anything. So I started giving free readings because for most of my life I hid from being a psychic. Because my mom, she had a master's in psychology. She didn't like what we did. My dad was like the hippie. I mean, he worked for the federal government, but he was the hippie Reiki dude. And so I always tried to make both of them happy. But for the most part, it scared me. I didn't like talking to entities or anything like that. But after I lost everybody, I didn't want people to hurt like I was hurting. And so I started helping out. And I like listening to spooky stuff. So I'd fall asleep listening to the show he's on sometimes. And I didn't know who he was. And all of a sudden I saw him. And I get that usual feeling whenever I'm supposed to give a message to someone, I get that little push from spirit or whoever. And so I found him on Facebook and I said, I don't want anything. I know you don't know me. I'm not a weirdo, but I have a message for you. And some people, most people accept the messages. Some don't, but he accepted it. And after I gave him his message, he started testing me about all kinds of stuff to see if I was real. And I thought that was neat because nobody ever done that really, usually it's okay, weirdo, go away kind of thing, So I thought that was cool. And then we became friends. He helped me start. He's like, I can help you with a business. And so we did that. And he would come visit. He was in Alabama. And just strange things would happen when we were together. It was really interesting. And he was excited. He liked all that. I'm used to the weird stuff, but he was really excited. So the closer we got, we started to date each other, and we just moved in with each other. And when we moved in with each other, crazy stuff. It's settled down now, but like strange things happen.
Was this in Alabama?
No, Maryland.
We're
Maryland. Okay.
Yeah, we're in Maryland, but it was. I personally think energies were excited that we were together for some reason, because he's one aspect and he's talented at what he does, and in my own way, I'm talented at the weirdness that I am, and I think that the aliens and the spirits, or whatever you want to call them, they got excited and they wanted to show their presence, because they did, believe me.
Yeah, so she gave me a reading after my mother passed. And I chose to do the reading because the 2 weeks as my mother was passing, she would occasionally rally. And when she did, she would talk to my dead relatives who she said was in the room. So I went, okay, what's going on here? So I agreed to do the reading. And it took her about 15 minutes for her to completely and totally and absolutely convince me that she was talking to my mother. She told me things my mother said that only my mother and I knew. And then a little lady came through. She says, this often happens. There's a little lady come through, but her Southern accent is so thick, I cannot understand almost anything she's saying, except she keeps saying this word over and over, and she's jumping up and down and emphatic about it. She really wants me to say this word. And you could tell that she was embarrassed to say it because she thought she didn't have it right. So I said, just tell me if it's wrong, it's wrong. She said she keeps saying Tweety. And I went, wow. When I was 1, my grandmother kept me. She called me Sweetie. I couldn't say Sweetie, so I called her Tweety. And that became Grandma's name. And it was just the final straw. Since then, she's given me readings basically of all my deceased relatives, and I'm convinced every one of them came. So then she started telling me about her dreams. And I've been in the UFOs now for a few years. She did not know what these dreams were. She just thought they were weird. But every single one of them was the exact kind of dreamlike memory that Bud Hopkins and John wrote about in Alien Abductions. So I knew she had been abducted, including the hybrid experiments and other things that I knew I recognized. So just so you're aware, I played scientist. I told her none of this until I was absolutely convinced.
Wow. Now, Lala, with what you just recently said, do you think this was maybe planned by something? Because you said you felt like this push to reach out.
Yeah.
So then is there a reason why that these, I guess, do you have a mission statement? You know what I mean? Like, is there some reason why you two are together for something bigger? And if you can't talk about it, you can't talk about it. But, have you thought about this? Or, it's just weird because I sit here and I talk to Michelle about this sometimes. Like, why are we doing this? This is, I didn't like anything other than Star Trek and Star Wars when I was a kid. And that's as far as I got with any of this stuff. Ancient aliens, it's all garbage. It's all of this stuff is trash. Psychics are trash. All this stuff. No. Mind blown. Right. So take it away. What do you feel? What do you think? What's the purpose of this then?
Okay, so I think it's a 2-part. I think it was to help us heal in certain ways, different reasons, but to heal our hearts in other ways. And the other part, I think it's a business thing. I think they pick certain people to put the word out, so to speak. And that's what we're doing. That's what you guys are doing. And it's in a slow baby step entertainment type of way where people can absorb it and not be fearful of it. I think that's good because a lot of people are scared of it. What are you laughing at me for?
Because she never remembers the most startling evidence.
What did I do? Well, I can't remember crap.
Exactly. So we're on the back porch, the deck.
Oh yeah.
And we're on the deck, and we went out there all the time taking pictures. And we have some unreal stuff. But the following is truly unreal. We're sitting there, we're taking our usual pictures of the flashing things in the sky that turn out to be craft, or the orbs that are floating by that are easy to see. And she says, "Ooh, give me the big camera. I want to take a picture." So I handed her the camera. She picked it up. She didn't point at the sky. She pointed it at the backyard and went click. And I took the camera back, looked at the photo, and there's no smoke or fog, none whatsoever. But there in that photo, surrounded by what looked like smoke, was a gray alien head that was the being had walked up 6 feet in front of us. Mm-hmm. And later that night, it talked to her telepathically and gave us our mission, which is to promote soft disclosure and help people realize that they're real.
And to get out of our ego.
And to get out of our egos. We were a new couple. We butted heads a lot. And I'm Mr. So-and-so, so I know more than anybody, except she has more talent than I'll ever have in this stuff. So anyway, it was a growing relationship. And I realized that she had talents I was never going to have. And I had to set my ego aside and just listen a lot. And so we did, and here we are.
That's just so fascinating. Like soft disclosure.
I'll show the picture.
Oh God.
I'll show you the picture.
He does it every time.
Feel free to do a screen share and we'll put it up there for everybody because there's a video I want to show you guys. And Lala, you may really appreciate this video that happened with my daughter, and I'll show it to you. And I think it's going to be the first time I've ever showed it. Because I used to think that our house was built on haunted land many years ago with my, where me and my ex-wife lived. Many years ago, my daughter was in her room playing with her kitten, and I'm going to show you something that's going to be real interesting. And I'm interested to see what you see because I've had other people watch it that are sensitives, and I've gotten totally some interesting reactions to it. So,
okay.
All right. So let's see who's joined us. Okay, Kelly Lewis has joined us. I see. What else do we got? Diane Boss is here full time now. She's back. Bigfoot, Michigan. Rob.
Yeah, Gary's in there too.
Hey, Gary's here. Okay. Linda Lou, right? Linda Lou from Shelby Township.
Yep, I told her.
Yeah,
man,
I used to live in
stomping grounds.
Yeah, used to live in Shelby Township. Yep, many years.
All right, you've got it whenever you want to show it.
So let's go ahead and add this. Let's just blow that up. All right. What are we looking at?
All right. So let me move over here so I can move the cursor around. So we took a picture and there was all this smoke.
But and you saw nothing.
No. I didn't see anything. She knew it was there.
But you didn't see the smoke or nothing, right?
No, there was no smoke or fog. So right here is the top of its head. There's one eye. There's the edge of another eye. There's its nose. There's its tiny little mouth, and there's its chin. Yeah. That thing walked right up on us and talked to us.
Wow. Okay, that is interesting and creepy all at the same time.
The thing in the upper right, that's not a star. Remember, she was pointing toward the ground. That's an orb.
And it looks like there's almost like dark energy around it.
Oh, look. If you took the photo and blew it up and analyzed it, I don't ever talk about it because people say pareidolia. This is actually full of faces.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, Michelle sees it.
Oh, yes, I do.
Full of faces.
Well, we got a video. Well, we have a motion sensor camera in the back and the front, and the back one, this was a year ago, we got a video of a portal. Okay, it was a black hole showed up, and then a bright light swung around the black hole, and then light shot out the center. So we were like, okay, there's a portal at the back. And we always felt that there was a portal in our bedroom, to the point where I didn't know if a lot of people cover their mirrors, and I got so nervous that I did cover the mirrors just in case.
Yeah.
And things have been not as hectic there, so there's energy all around. We're by the water, we're by Native American land, so there's all kinds of different energies here.
So, Bob, from a science standpoint, when you see something like that and nothing was in your normal spectrum of vision in that backyard, and she's obviously picking up on something and takes a picture of this face in this energy mass. For you, what is that? I guess I always want to ask somebody like you these questions. What questions are we not asking that we are seeing the evidence of? Like, what is that evidence of? And what questions should we be asking so we can look at that as evidence?
It's non-human intelligence, because that's definitely not a human. And why are they wanting us? Why are they talking to us? What are they doing here?
Okay, something weird just happened here. Like something like popped or I want to say it sounded like it exploded.
So just let us warn you. This happens to everybody that interviews us.
Michelle's up looking around to see what it almost sounded like plastic going bink. Like
I'm telling you, it happens.
Pressure change.
People see orbs, or we see orbs on your side. It happens to us all the time.
Whoa. Okay. That's Michelle's walking around like this, like, what is going on?
Okay.
All right. So is this the hitchhiker effect we're seeing now?
That's kind of what I would call it. Except it's not like me going to visit Chris Bledsoe. It's not the best I've been able to determine. It's not permanent.
Right.
After I got back from Bledsoe's and all those things that happened to us, including my miraculous healing, and I'm the next to last story in UFOs of God, his book. Okay.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Yeah. So it's just, most people just have a fleeting view of it. And we first realized this was going on when she came on Spaced Out Radio, and an orb kept flying up and down in front of her. As you go watch her video being interviewed by Dave, the two of us interviewed by Dave, and this orb kept flying around in front of her.
I think that was my parents, because that was my birthday that I went on the show. So I think that was that.
Oh, and I have seen her father in full-bodied apparition and in my eyes and closed and dreams, etc., since we've been together. And then just one last piece of evidence, and I won't bore your audience anymore. Bring up that photo, please.
Gotcha. All right.
That is a fully resolved craft that is 200 meters south of our home.
I should put up the other one that looked like the night.
Whoa.
That came 3 times, different months.
Yeah. She wants me to put up another one. Let me just go do it.
Okay.
But she said this one was alive. I had her read it.
Like, so you were picking up some kind of a consciousness or something with that craft.
So a lot of time when we first moved in here, I was still grieving, and I know it sounds weird, I would talk to them and say, can you show up? Because it got me out of my head. It got me out of my thoughts. And they would show up. First, it was really far away. And over the months, it got closer and closer until sometimes they'd show up as like a big metal bright ball, like a basketball on fire, flying over the neighbor's roof, our roof. And we would see this with our own eyes. And I could feel it was that same nudge. If I was in the house, I'd feel that nudge that somebody wanted to give a message, but it was different. It wasn't spirit. It was otherworldly. That's okay. And so after a while, I started playing a game with him. He has a big flash on his camera, and so I would flash it a couple of times, and I'd go back in the house, and then something would flash a light back at us. And then I would do that for a while, and I stopped doing it for a couple weeks. All of a sudden, the motion camera goes off, and something flashed to call me out there to them. It was so cool. It's amazing.
Okay. All right. So what do we got here, Bob?
Okay, so look, this is 200 kilometers from us, up in orbit. So this thing was there, and this is it 3 weeks later. But now we've got a triangle and whatever that is, and this is it rotated. So the deputy director of the U.S. Space Force was having lunch with me at a meeting, knew about some of my stuff, and said, "Have you got anything?" I showed him these photos, and he almost fell off his chair, giving me his address so I could mail these pictures to him. That's a deputy director of Space Force. And this craft is this one I calculated using shadows, where the sun was, etc.
Right.
Is 200 kilometers away. Do you have any notion of how big that thing, where you can't even see the pixel, would have to be seen 200 kilometers away? It's amazing.
Is that what they call the Black Knight?
Did you hear her?
It looks,
No.
it looks the angle, and that one, that's the first photo I got of it. And I talked to him, and I said, "Can you come back and show me more, or can I learn more about you?" And like a month later, we got a different angle of the same thing.
It was rotated, and now the triangle, we've seen triangle fly over our house.
But it does look like the Black Knight.
We were going down the road on Highway 40 past Aberdeen Proving Grounds, and it's a winding road. Yet the triangle over the top of our car stayed centered in her sunroof while we were zigging and zagging. So it was staying centered on us while we were going down a winding highway. I mean, it was definitely looking at us. And all of a sudden, a helicopter came out of Aberdeen Proving Grounds, and it went whoop, boom, took off. She turned around, and it was gone.
Wow.
And we had a cylinder 5 weeks ago, when she was coming home from an art gig, flew across the road in front of us. I went, "Whoa, that's not an airplane, that's something else." I reached down to grab my phone to take a picture. Boom, it was gone by the time I lifted my head.
Yeah.
Okay, so again, I'm gonna reposit my question here and see if anything happens around us again, because my God, Michelle jumped into the air.
And I mean, I've got my camera off just because my camera glitches and I freeze with some of the most god awful faces. So I'm still here in chat and listening. And yeah, whatever that was, still cannot figure out in the kitchen what it was.
Yeah. So Bob, back to my original question. When we look at things like this, what are the questions we should be asking to figure out what is?
Well, I mean, until you have some other kind of communication, all of it is a picture or a video. You need more. So I've been in and around the UFO bunch for a while now, but here is what is going around UFO circles right now. Major remote viewers and major experiences are saying there's a division amongst people that believe in UFOs and have been abducted. They're bad, or they're good and they're angels. So the remote viewers are saying the good ones are coming to free us from the bad ones. They're tired of waiting on us to wake up. So November the 8th, there was a prediction made by a well-known remote viewer. They put it up on their YouTube channel on November the 15th, and November the 18th, the drones started. And they've been ramping up, and all sorts of weird stuff is going on. And according to their latest prediction of multiple of these people, it's going to ramp up in the month of January to the point where no one can deny it. see craft in the sky almost every time you look. I don't look. You don't need to believe me. I don't need to believe them. We got 30 days. All we got to do is wait. If they're lying, that won't happen. If they're telling the truth, we know they want us to wake up. And here's what they claim. These people claim the following: that the bad ETs made contracts with a bunch of governments, and they are now doing bad things to people on Earth. And the new ones that are coming are coming to free us from them. And that when we wake up, we will realize how badly we have been used, and we will have all our past memories and all our other abilities. Like psychic abilities are natural for all of them, and we are behind some kind of screen that's preventing our natural psychic abilities from coming forward. And according to these people, they are coming to fix all of that.
Wow. Okay, so I had this flash go through my head just while you were saying that about the bad ones, and the government's kind of in bed with them.
They won't take. And in return for that, they've sold a bunch of people to be experimented on, etc.
I'm having a distinct feeling of the Watchers.
Yeah.
The ones that came down here to teach metallurgy and weaponry and all that stuff that were supposedly booted out of whatever realm, right? And they call them the Watchers, but the rebellious ones. And it just kind of flashed through my head right now, and I'm like, this sounds like.
Okay, so let me tell you what is a very important part to what these stories are. There's not one race that's bad. There's not one race that's good. There's a whole bunch of races out there with the good ones. And the members of all those races that didn't want to join in are with the bad ones. So both of them have good grays and bad grays, and good mantids and bad mantids, and good reptilians and bad reptilians. In other words, both of them are a group of them, and race does not distinguish between them. And so it's been very confusing to experiencers who want to know what the heck is going on, and why does one come and help and another one come and use. And now you get the picture.
Just wonder why us.
Oh, I think this is a very special place. But the bad ones, they want to use us. We are cannon fodder or meat wagon for their conflicts, and they use us. And it's time for us to stop it.
I think that we are a very special type of being. I mean, we're a soul in our meat wagon, whatever you want to call it, but we're unaware.
Our spacesuits.
So we're easy targets.
These are our spacesuits.
Yeah, we're easy to manipulate. I mean, and also even more so now because they dumb us down, and I mean that in a nice way, because we can't help it. Put stuff in our food, our air, our water. So we have things. I think there are some UFOs. Some people have been seeing plasma balls and stuff like that, but they gaslight us so much that we're like, oh, maybe it really is nothing. So we're easy to mess with.
And we can't ascend and reattain our abilities and break free of this while all of this junk is going on. So if they come and make clear demonstrations, nothing that can be hidden, then disclosure will happen no matter what a government wants. And then the awful stuff that's been done will come out. But then they are not here to help one group of people. They are here to help everyone. And all of humanity must agree. All of humanity that wants it has to agree to be helped, and they will be helped. But the good ones, they are fanatic free will people. Fanatic. They don't make decisions for others. So they're just going to show us, not do for us, show us until we ask.
You know,
that's the story. And I don't know whether it's true or not, but Wayne, all we got to do is wait a month. They're a liar or they aren't.
Yeah, and people in chat, I see you guys are active and stuff, and I'm kind of like zoned out right now in this conversation, and Michelle is sitting here watching around things and keeping a hold of things, and sorry if we're kind of neglecting you, and I'm seeing lots of conversations going on, and I will revisit those later, I promise. But this reminds me, and Lala, you could probably speak to this considering what you just said. And by the way, thank you, Bigfoot Michigan Rob, for your 5 foot or 5 foot.
That's how tall I am.
Right. That's how tall Michelle is. $5 super chat. Thank you. And a Merry Christmas to you. And happy holidays.
We love
But
our
Lala,
buddy Bigfoot Michigan Rob.
yeah, he's a good friend. Lala, you said something that made me think of an interview that I just recently saw on the Sean Ryan show. And he had a Catholic priest on there, and he was talking about why we were so hated by certain I guess demons or whatever it is. And it's something like you said. We are both divine energy and material energy, and these things, and Bob, I don't know if the people that are telling you this stuff, we've been told the same thing, whether a non-human intelligence is appearing to us to look like an alien, they do look like aliens, or there is part of this stuff. I don't know. I'm not making a judgment call, but it makes me think that if we can sit here and think like binary, good versus evil, then there might be something to the fact that we are hated or mistreated by these intelligences, because we are both divine and material, and we have a spiritual realm or a spiritual life after we leave our meat suits, and they can't stand that.
Well, so the other part of the story that's really devious is they meet us when we pass. They get up there to the light. They tell us to go in, and that traps us in the recycle. And so that's the recycling of your soul back into another body. And the good ones tell us that body is not you. You are the spark of life, a soul or whatever that's inside you. And the secret keepers, I've seen multiple classified papers that the secret keepers know that these are suits, and they know that the entities are taking our selves out and putting who they want in these suits so they can use us. And then it looks like us.
Wow.
So the other thing I want to point out, we have gone in less than 350 years from burning wood for energy to going to other planets, computers thinking faster than we do. And that is extraordinary, rapid technological growth. If I were another entity, I would say, look, these people went in 300 years what it took us 3,000 years to do. Where will they be, and can we ever control them? And so there's all sorts of considerations like that. We are amazing. We're growing so fast.
There it is right there. 6th of December, 2024. Army in 1983. And this was declassified by the CIA in 2003, saying that secret Pentagon study hints at reincarnation being real after finding consciousness never dies.
Right. Well, I mean, what Lala does, what other people do, it's proof that your consciousness survives death. To me, it is. It's proof.
So, Lala, what's your thoughts on this?
Well, the whole time I was thinking on the paranormal aspect of things, that I think they're called attachments. So these things want to be us or part of us. And lately, there's been a lot of people, more so than usual, having attachments, and they don't know at all, you know. they could just get sick a lot, or bad things keep happening. I mean, it's almost common. I had one I didn't know. For a while, I got help by June Lundridge.
Lundgren.
I love her. I just can't pronounce her last name. Anyway, and she's called the Demon Slayer, but she helped me, and it's so I think there's different entities or beings that want a part of us. So something's up with us if all these things are after us. I mean, I had a physical. I woke up to something being attacking me in a certain way, and I never believed in that stuff before that happened. I believed in ghosts. I just didn't believe in demons or other things. And it's crazy. It really is. And I didn't talk about it. And when I got with him, I shared things, and he's like, "This is common. A lot of people." He calls them reptilians. Some people call them incubus, but it's just there's different things that want a part of us.
So
Well, I
Bob,
know what I call what they did to her. It starts with an R.
Anyway.
Yeah. What about you? You said you have a young son, right?
15.
Any indication he might be hybrid, highly intelligent, something along those lines? And the only reason I ask is because we've had a guest on here a few times that came to our show, was one of our first guests, and he had a black triangle experience here just south of Flint, Michigan, in 94, when that UFO flap was going on the west side of the state. We were having triangle sightings and things going on, and these two women that he worked with swore that they were abducting. They were Christians. I mean, they were Bible thumping Christians. Their car started spinning. They lost consciousness, and when they woke up, they were a couple hours late getting back to work. They were going the wrong way on the expressway. They were going northbound instead of southbound. And the one of them who couldn't get pregnant ended up pregnant and having a child, a male, who then was testing off the scales. And she wrote an article to MUFON about him being a genius. So I'm just curious, with what Bob just said, any connection or thoughts or feelings about that with you and your son?
I think it's generational. I do. I don't. Right now, he's at the age where it's not cool. Mom's a weirdo, which is fine. I want him to be normal, because
right.
Because we're not normal, so I want him to enjoy teenage life as normal as possible. But yeah, I know he's a little different. Like,
He about half believes our stuff,
which is fine.
which is fine. That's
fine.
just fine. We're not forcing it or pushing it.
Yeah.
But no, I think and my dad, he had experiences. He loved talking about paranormal stuff, but he would get nervous about the alien topic. And then one time when I was, I guess, 30, he said, sometimes I see a UFO following me when I walk the dog at night. And he got nervous and he never talked about it again. And my father and I, we had an experience together. I mean, we were best friends. We would talk about anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they went to Florida. I was helping them take out the trash at night. And all of a sudden, I got that weird feeling. And I looked up, and it was these huge orange orbs really close to the roof. And they were probably like 3 feet wide. And there were 5 of them, and they went into a shape of a V. And I said, "Dad, do you see this?" And he looked right at them, and he robotically said no. And he went into the house and never came out, which was unlike him. So I think they did something to him. And then I looked back at them, and one by one they went away, and I don't remember the rest of the night at all. So I think they visit certain families, generation, so.
That, and just let me say one thing. From her accounts, which we're now writing down, just put her life in a book, she's had hundreds of incidences of missing time. Hundreds. It's just wow.
I didn't know what they were, and I would always get in trouble, like with a boyfriend or whatever. Like, where were you? I was like, I don't know. I didn't know I was late. I just didn't. I know I had missing time. Even with a friend, we were coming home from work, and we were in Virginia, and it would have been a 2-hour ride. And within minutes, we saw a Baltimore sign on the highway, and we both go, "What the hell is happening? Why are we here already?" And so, whoever I'm with, they experience something to a certain extent. It's interesting.
Yeah, and that kind of goes now, Bob, I know you've talked about this before, that hitchhiker effect, and it's been brought up back when Bigelow was the head or owned Skinwalker Ranch, and those scientists were having that experience of seeing something, weird things going on. They go home and it continues at their home. And I'm just curious, have you guys had people visiting you and then say later, what the hell did you guys do to us? Because now there's something here, or we're noticing things just because of whatever the energy is that you guys are putting out or attracting or whatever. And then these things are like, hey, we're going to go with these guys for a little while and check them out.
When I was younger, it happened quite a bit. But it was almost like a harassing or stalking kind of feeling. So, especially men, whatever this was, did not like men around me. So they would follow the men and give them the same nightmares as me, like to a T nightmare. And they didn't believe in any of this stuff. So that scared them. But
given my long time in government and other things that I know, we have led extremely private lives. No one has been in here. Nobody.
Well, we haven't been here that long anyway.
We've been here 3 years and we haven't had a guest. I mean, we just don't.
I think it freaks out people.
Yeah. I mean, look. Let me put it to you this way, Wayne. How do you and Michelle feel about the thump in the other room? You come in our house, and that's every few minutes. And the disembodied voices, the TV being unplugged, the orbs. I mean, we just don't want to deal with it.
Yeah. Michelle?
I guarantee it. I'd end up bringing something home.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am absolutely sure you're a beacon. If you were given the things you're doing, they would be attracted to you.
Yeah, I'm pretty convinced of that, considering I don't know, I'm gonna tell you about her dad recently. He passed away in November,
I'm sorry.
and we hadn't been able to talk to him for about 2 or 3 weeks.
It was about 3 weeks, just not being able to get a hold of the family that was with him down there.
We're getting ready to go live on a show. Like, it's counting down. You know, we're at the 3-minute mark, 5-minute mark, something like that. And Michelle looks over at me and she goes, I can hear my dad calling out like he is frightened or something.
No, it was
the
a dark, somber feeling, and I got sad real fast. And it was about 3 or 4 days later that I got the phone call that he had passed.
So she is definitely, I don't know how to say it, because it's unfamiliar to me, even with all the shows and people we've interviewed. And
Well,
energy.
It's an ontological shock, or
Yeah.
whatever, epistemological, whatever you want to call it. When you realize, I want you to imagine all my 67 years of technical friends who knew me for other reasons before I met her. Too many of them think I've lost my mind. But once it's happened to you and you know it's real, you can either hide or deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, just real quick, thank you to Gary for the $4.99 super chat. He says conscious seems to have spiritual and financial value. Storing conscious has popped up a lot lately. Very interesting. yeah. So yeah, the consciousness stuff, and yeah, that is very, very, very true, especially with all these drones and everything that we see popping up and everything. Speaking of orbs and things like that, and um, Bob, I know you have experience with Chris Bledsoe, and you're mentioned in his book and everything, and I want to get to that in a little bit, but Lala, there's something I want you to see here, and Bob, you as well. I
Is
just
this
have to.
Amber's video?
Yeah, so this is my oldest daughter, and she is playing with her kitten at the time. And I'm gonna blow this up, and people, I don't know if I've shared this with any of you before or not, but I'm gonna put this on full screen, and I want you guys to watch this. Lala, let me know what you see. Playing with the kitten. So the kitten is, looking for something. She's throwing it and done. Now look at the cat. Walks away from the little wrapper toy. Did you see anything there?
Can you back it up? I missed it.
Okay. All right.
The animals can see more than
Oh
we can.
Lord, our dogs see stuff in here all the time.
So, but cat is preoccupied. It doesn't want to play with something because it sees something else. There's something there.
Okay. All right. So a couple things I'm going to point out. So, all right. So there's the cat. The cat's looking at the wrapper and then stops and looks away.
Oh yeah.
Notice where the cat's looking. You see that?
Yep.
All right. Now this is that house I was telling you I thought was haunted. Okay. Cat doesn't respond, goes toward my daughter. Do you see it?
The little glowing thing?
Nope.
Is it a shadow?
Yeah, it's hard to do. There's not enough contrast.
I know it's hard. Right there. So now I'm going to play this slower.
Is it a person?
No, I'm trying to see if it's a shadow.
Let's go halftime. All right, watch right there. Did you see it?
Oh, something moved past.
Oh yeah, quickly. Oh yeah.
There's the cat. Watch right here.
Yep.
Shoom.
Oh yeah. That's
the cat is right there.
Once you see it, you can't not see it.
Yes.
Yeah,
And I'm gonna.
He's still there.
I'm gonna do it even slower here.
Oh, it's obvious.
So there goes the cat. Right here.
Hell no. I'll pack my butt. See that?
Oh yeah.
That gives me a weird feeling.
She had shadow people mess with her for a long time in her basement room.
That's the same house where the house that we built was on the same land next to this house where she was at. So we built a house next to my ex-wife's parents' house, and we raised the kids there next door and everything else, the whole family, whatever. But on that same land, in that same house upstairs, I remember waking up and hearing kids' voices, though I was taking a nap after going to college classes. My kids were all in school. It sounded like they were home, and I saw shadows running down the hallway. And then it was like about a second and a half later, and this is what really threw me off, was then there was the sound, almost like a different time frame.
Right.
So when you see a video like this, and I see you said you were feeling uneasy, what are your thoughts? What are you feeling? What are you noticing in this video?
To me, it feels like another stalking kind of energy. They do like to be around children or innocent energies, and I feel like they kind of draw. Somehow they kind of take our energy somehow. So I mean, I don't know. did she ever get headaches in her room or not feel great or just bad dreams? Did she ever experience any of that?
Well, this was many years ago. She's now in her own house, and she's almost 25 at this point. But this was when she was a younger, teenager, and there was some really weird stuff that happened
Right.
in that house. There's one story I can tell you guys. I'll make it quick and see. Same house that, well, the house was next door, same land. I keep on saying same house, same land where we built the new house. I'm walking in the door coming home from my college classes. In front of me is a hallway. To the left is a stairway going up. And then to the right was into the living room. And the hallway in front of me went to the breakfast nook and the kitchen. I walk in the door. I look. Our pit bull is sitting at the end of the hallway with its head poking around. And she's growling. And I notice her fur standing up on the back of her neck.
Oh,
And I'm like, oh boy, I'm in trouble. This is that pit bull craziness that they always talk about. And I'm looking at her and I'm like, Hera, her name was Hera. What's wrong? What's going on? And she didn't even bother looking at me. She's looking at the bottom of the staircase to my left. And we used to take an old baby gate and lay it on the stairs. And you wouldn't even have to put it in the walls. The dog would not go up the stairs if it was there. It just, it was like, okay, I know I'm not supposed to go upstairs. That's fine. That I look at it and I go, it's just the baby gate. What's going on with you? And I'm not kidding you. And you would think this would convince me that there was, and my convincing of the paranormal was a little bit, I want to say after this, I was convinced in something weird going on paranormally. I still wasn't a UFO guy or nothing like that. But that baby gate was laying on an angle like this on the stairs. It stood up on the tile and slid down the hallway at the dog.
Oh my
And the
God.
dog took off running, and I took off out the door the other way and went and got lunch. And I said, well, if there's ever a dog that could handle itself, she could handle herself. I'm out of there.
Oh yeah.
And that was that same piece of land. And she was in the house. That video I showed you, that's in the house that's directly next door. And then I heard, saw the shadow kids and heard them in our upstairs. So just very, very strange. And then I hear things from people that are like, well, the paranormal's connected to UFOs. And I'm like, well, how? What is going on? And then I think back to all this stuff when her and I have our experience in 2018. I mean, that stuff that happened, I was in college. I think it was like 2012 or something like that when all this other stuff was going on. Might have even been earlier than that, 2010. So many, many years. And I'm just wondering about these timelines. You say generational, and I've heard that before. Is it because they're on different timelines and somehow all of these things are connected, playing games on these timelines, or it just doesn't matter to them? Or I don't know. I have so many questions.
Go ahead.
All right. So I feel there's certain things I feel. So it's not just one answer. I feel it could be the generation means like a bloodline, maybe, it could be a generational curse that we're stuck with, we didn't even know about. But also with the timelines, I kind of believe, the Mandela effect where we switch back and forth and things like that. I think we're always switching. So I think things are always being altered. I think there's something that does kind of come in our timeline and kind of mess with us or interacts with us, I'll say. I think I don't think there is one answer. I think there's so many things going on with so many different things that it's confusing. It really is. So
I agree. Bob, what do you think?
Oh, I'm with her. She's the expert. I'm the guy standing out here trying to go, what the heck is going on?
But
okay.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, the only reason I believe in some of the Mandela effect is two things. Like, I had really bad OCD when I was little, and for some reason, I would type out words with my toes, whatever. I don't know why, but it was really bad. And I remember I would type out, I was a skateboarder, and I wore Skechers sneakers, and it had a T in it, and now it doesn't have a T in it anymore. And I knew something was wrong. And then 2 years ago, I looked up at the moon, and usually there's a little man on the moon, the face, right? It wasn't there for a while, maybe like a week or two, and I Googled man on the moon or the face. Nothing was on Google about any of it, except one drawing someone did years ago. And I'm like, maybe I'm losing my mind, whatever. And then a month later, the face is back. I Google it, and it's all over Google. So something switched. I don't know what that was, but I can't explain it. I guess I went to a timeline that didn't have it. I don't know, but I know I sound crazy talking about it. I realize that.
Well, maybe not, because we've got a friend, Gemma Jade, who's our resident psychic, and she's from Patterson, New Jersey. She's right in the middle of all of this stuff that's going on over there. We were doing some talking and stuff, and obviously there's the naval weapons base over there. There's the Picatinny artillery supplier. Yeah, the arsenal, and they're supplying Ukraine right now, which set off a set of logical thought processes as to what these drones and stuff are for me from a geopolitical standpoint, nothing more than that. And then I find out that Montauk is right there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So now we've got all of this, and we've got drones, and then we're told possible nuclear stuff on the loose from a crate container that went missing, and they're searching for it, but they're not telling anybody they're searching for it. So I'm going through this stuff in my head, and I'm just I think it's a confluence of many things happening at the same time. And the one woman, Gemma Jade, who is a dear friend of ours, she said that something happened at CERN.
I believe it.
That flipped something, and we're on a different type of timeline. And when she said that, I pulled up Google, and I remember hearing just not too long ago, and Bob helped me out, but the sun has switched polarities.
Yes, that happens every sunspot cycle. So the sun goes through a cycle that's 11 years long.
Right.
And when you reach solar maximum, that's when the number of sunspots on the sun maximizes, the field flips.
Which is very interesting, because guess who has been extremely tired and run down and having all kinds of problems as of late? That girl right there.
Oh my God.
And it just seems like all of this stuff is happening all at the same time. Like, it just seems like everything is like somebody has flipped a switch.
Right. Yep.
I mean, I'm typically in bed between like 6 and 7 in the evening.
And we get up because we're early, we're teachers. So we're always up at 5:30, 4:30, somewhere in there anyways. Right. But this is something different. Right. And so, I guess, Lala, I want to start with you. Are you getting any kind of a paranormal reading, sense, feeling of all of this stuff that's happening, especially in New Jersey? Now, to be fair, the drone stuff and all of this has been going on overseas in the UK for some time. Germany has been overflown in dealing with these because they are seeing these drones flying over, where in Germany they are training Ukrainian troops and then sending them back to Ukraine to fight. So my brain is going, this is Putin telling the last month or so of Obama's administration, stop screwing around, leave things be, and just, we're showing you that we can get to you, basically, if we wanted to. All right. That's why they're not doing anything. They have lights on them and stuff like that. But then there's orbs. They're not drones.
Right.
And the orbs are taking some of these drones out. They're not blinking lights. They're just a solid light.
Right. Yeah.
So, all right, Lala, from a paranormal standpoint,
Mhm.
your thoughts and feelings on kind of the modern day, or, you know, the current day of what's going on here.
I've been feeling that something was coming. I didn't know what that something was. I think it's,
You did.
well, I'm not 100% sure what it is. Anyway, I feel it's a mixture. I feel the orbs, or some people now online are calling them plasma balls. And they're getting really good video of these things. They're amazing. But I think there's a mixture of our stuff too, to confuse us, you know, or the war, whatever. So I think it's a mixture. I feel that I keep feeling this rushing of time, like not time's running out, but there's this rush feeling. And I feel that whatever this isn't going to wait anymore for us. It's just showing up, you know? And I think there's a big change coming. The only thing that scares me is that I've had a lot of dreams of, you know, the floods, and I had a reoccurring dream of, it looked like a big planet passing us. It didn't hit into us, but because it got so close, floods happened, you know, streets cracked, and that scares me because when I have dreams like that, they usually are warnings or come true. So,
But it's a warning of something, because any planet big enough to disturb us, we would have seen it 3 years ago on our telescopes. So
yeah, but they do all kinds of stuff to cover things, don't they?
I don't know.
Don't they, like, can't they can cover things, and then China have a fake sun and all this other stuff.
I don't know about it. What I do know is I asked her to do a reading for me over a year ago, and I won't go into all of that because I don't want to go into all that. But I will say the following: she told me all this stuff was coming over a year ago, and she's been prepping, buying dried food and water.
Everybody should do that, by the way. Go on Amazon, get something cheap, but have at least a week's worth of something for each person in the house. That's all I'm saying. Hopefully I'm wrong, but whatever. It's going to have it anyway, especially with the weather, how it is around us. So,
yeah. Well, you guys
Dry
are
food and water in bags.
And lights.
And
Yeah.
light. And
you
batteries.
guys are now up in Maryland, right? So you've got a big change from being in the South, where you don't have to worry about the weather freezing you in so much now, where now you could possibly have that on the East Coast.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, I lived up here, and I lived in Jersey for 27 years, and the house in the background is our house the last time we had a major snow. So it's not like we don't get weather. It's just, and I lived in Alabama for 3 years before I moved back up here.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, Bob, what's your take on this? I know you've got important people in important places, and I know you've got to be talking to some people, especially after your Jesse Michaels interview and stuff like that. I learned a lot from that interview with you and Jesse Michaels, and besides, what do you think is going on? What was that experience like going on Jesse Michaels?
It was great. He's a great interviewer, as you can tell from that interview. I'm not exactly shy, so he asked me questions and I answered them. But that guy does research. He's not the typical podcaster. He had it down pat before he ever let me come to where he was in New York City and video that thing. So he brought in a technology expert who does physics in the aerospace industry. He will now be known to people as Jack Missile Man. That's as much as we know. And he's very capable. But what we've been doing is working on how to power the craft and how to make it go. And you're going to get attention if you work in those areas, because there are a bunch of people that don't want anybody to figure that out.
Do you think they have it figured out?
I think Hal Puthoff figured it out over 15 years ago, and he made a decision. Can I learn what's on the inside, or can I try to publish this, etc.? And from what he said in the interview on the program with James Fox, he decided to go on the inside. He said, if I tell you what I know about the program, I will go to prison. That means he had to be on the inside.
Yeah. And it also means what? NDA?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what I mean. Let me explain to you, what people are listening, what NDA means. It sounds innocuous. The NDA, non-disclosure agreement, that I have signed and all sorts of other people have signed to work in special access programs, says the following lovely things. If you're asked about this program, especially if it's the kind we're talking about, you are not allowed to say, I can't comment. You are required by your signature in writing to tell a lie. The lies are cleared ahead of time, but you are required to lie. If you mention the name of the project, where it's being done, what's being done, and who the sponsor is, that's immediate revocation of clearance, loss of all sorts of rights, and you're in real trouble. I mean, these NDAs, they are like life death sentences. You don't want to do it. You don't want to cross them. And that's the reason no one's coming forward.
Even with the whistleblower protection, right? It's still,
they don't believe it. They do not believe that. They believe we have a rogue element running the UFO legacy programs. They don't believe any of these laws mean anything to them. And from the stories I've been told, that Grush told us and other people told us, they take action. The bad guys take action. They threatened him and his wife's life.
You're talking about Elizondo?
No, Grush.
Grush.
Oh, they did the same. They did the same to Elizondo.
Right. Yeah, I know there was like an immediate release of some kind of psychological evaluation and all that when it came to Grush, when he came forward, and his medical records and things like that.
And that was a violation of federal law.
Yeah, it was. And they weren't worried about it whatsoever.
Nobody's going to enforce that law.
Wow.
Where they are concerned.
Wow. All right. Well, this has been, and I see Lala got up to head off for a few minutes, but
our dog will misbehave if we're out of sight for too long.
Yeah, totally understand.
I see her running around.
That's as bad as our cat.
Sorry.
No, that's quite all right. Well, I think this is probably a good time to stop. We've been at this for about an hour and a half already. And I guess I want to give you guys the last few minutes. If you want to talk about what you have coming up, I know you've got your show. I've got it going across the bottom there, Orbis Paranormal. What do you guys got coming up? What are you doing here in the future?
There were people in here that said they want readings of their deceased relatives or whatever. Under our name is Lala's website. You can go there and book a reading if you want it. Lala's so busy with art gigs and all of that. What do you want to sell?
Well, you have some things coming up with in North Carolina, right?
Yeah, so I won't tell details, but Jesse Michaels and I are going to go visit Chris Bledsoe, armed with equipment and cameras, in North Carolina coming soon. In the new year.
What's the goal of that? Just to have him be there to capture evidence?
Chris knows I'm coming with things I want to show him that I think he needs.
Okay.
Jesse wants me there because I'm friends with Chris and he liked our interview. So Jesse wants an interview to put on his channel. You get the idea. It's multiple tasks.
Okay.
And every Tuesday and Wednesday, for the most part, every Tuesday and Wednesday, we have an hour-long show at 7 p.m. Eastern with a new guest every time. You guys are welcome to come on. That'll be fun, I think.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it'll be great.
Yeah, we'd love to come on.
And we might go to Lorian Fenton's. She wants us to talk at her conference coming up. We did that before 2 years ago. We talked to her in San Francisco. That was nice. She's awesome.
And we'll go to the Spaced Out Radio Fan Club in Las Vegas.
In the summer?
No, in May.
Okay, in May.
And then what about is it Contact in the Desert? Are you guys doing that this year?
I'm writing work up that I would like to present there, and we'll see if it happens. I'm really writing a paper that I hope to present at Soul Conference. That's Gary Nolan's conference. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, great. Well, this has been awesome. I think we covered some great topics tonight, and I'm still blown away. I mean, we're 4 years into this, and I still, I'm just amazed at the people that are being brought together with all of this. And it just, I don't know. It's just a big IDK, it's like, are we crazy? I don't think so. And it's
rather than IDK about once a week at least, I say WTF.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, what is world is going on?
Yeah. All right. Well, everybody, this has been Lala Bright and Science Bob McGwier as our guest, and thank you guys very much. And
yes, thank you.
We'll send you to the back. We'll talk to you in a little bit.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right, everybody. I think that's going to do it for us. Thank you for being here and hanging out in chat. It was awesome. You guys are extremely active.
I'm going to bed tonight now with that image of all those faces.
Yeah. Yeah, that was incredible.
I'm still, I think I was up over 12.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
that was like the one that was it Kelly Lewis had sent us a while ago with the dragon and the person in the hat. Remember that one? That freaked out you and Gemma.
That wasn't just a dragon.
Right. It was. So. Yeah. Anyways. All right, everybody. I see a lot of new people in the chat. Make sure you hit that subscribe, that like button. It is awesome that you guys have joined us, and we hope to see you again on our next show. And hey, Michelle, what do we got to do?
Is it our Q&A show or the predictions?
Yeah. So
both. Probably both.
Yeah, we got to get with Brian about that. But yeah, so we hit our goal for super chats not too long ago. So we're going to be doing a Q&A to the best of our ability. So be watching out for that. Make sure you guys go and check out Bob and Lala's channel at Orbis, ORBIS Paranormal, all one word, on YouTube. And then there is Lala Bright LLC.com, where you can find Lala and book readings with her. I think she has a half hour and an hour booking available. So make sure you guys go and check that out. And I think that's everything for tonight. This has been a great night. So everybody, we want to thank you. Oh, and have a good Christmas, right?
Merry Christmas.
Holiday.
Happy holidays.
Yep, absolutely. And remember,
keep your eyes to that sky.
Keep your eyes to that sky, baby.
Oh, geez. No.
Yes, it's that time. Wait a minute. Hold on. Where's the outro button?